everybody. Welcome back. This is part two of a two-part series. So if you want to hear our thoughts on Superior Spider-Man number 1 through 13, check out the video um, that I'll put somewhere in here probably. I'm a professional. And today we are going to be talking about number 14 through 31, so the rest of Superior Spider-Man. I am back with Carlos. Hello, Carlos.
Hello, Tyler. Whoa, it's been 2 weeks, but it's only been like 3 minutes for me. It's almost like a Mayan god trapped me in another dimension or something, and time went differently or whatever. Whoa, whoa.
I was like, where's he going with this? Is he going to do a Mysterio joke or...
No, I'm just being extremely corny.
Yeah, well, that's about the standard I set on this channel. Um,
Great.
so yeah. So please put down your PS5 controllers. I know you want to play the new game, everyone out there, but maybe you can listen to this while swinging. So let's do it. Superior Spider-Man, put that superior
Ah,
costume on, Carlos.
oh my God, I can't wait. I can't wait to put on the superior costume and glide. I'm so jealous of everyone listening to this while gliding and swinging in Brooklyn and
I know,
Queens.
I'm
Oh
so
my God.
freaking pissed. Uh,
Hype.
okay. So issue 14, this arc, a blind eye slash run goblin run. It could be all run goblin run pretty much. It's whatever. Um, or as Carlos loved to dub it, the Hobgoblin arc. But yeah, let's get into it, man. I say first we talked about this pretty early on in the first part. So, Superior Mark II suit. How we feeling?
I love the Superior Mark II suit. I think it's the most iconic. Like when you think of Superior, I think most people think of this just because it's so much more of a departure from the classic suit. Um, I love the design choices. I love the black eyes. I love the messy webbing. And I love how he is constantly using like the spider arms when he enters this era of being superior. Um, yes, I mean, if you were to ask me to pick a favorite between the two, that's really hard because I feel like they both have their details that I really like. Obviously, with the first suit, the big bug eyes are such a huge part of why I love that suit. But with this one, again, I just really like the messy webbing. It's like the emphasis on there being more black on the suit. I feel like it definitely shifts the tone. In the previous video in part one, we talked about how, he's not friendly like Peter. And I think this costume, the first costume got that message across in like a subtle way. This one is just like, this is not Peter Parker, like straight up, you know?
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, it's definitely more like his own suit at this point.
Can you all tell that Carlos likes this run? I don't know. I'm thinking he might not like it. Superior Mark II suit. It's good. It's classic. It's iconic. This you're right. This is the suit that people think of. First one's is better. I live by that. I stand that suit. The first one, it's so much better. But this one's cool too. It the black eyes is super dope. I do like the ion spider arms being on it. It makes so much sense. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about it.
Sweet.
Um, so let's talk. Okay, so in this issue, we have Shadowland and stuff. For the uninitiated, because Shadowland happened far too long ago. Shadowland was a Daredevil event where Daredevil took over the hand and was possessed and basically made um Hell's Kitchen into like feudal Japan type shit, and it was weird. And that's the hand was hanging out there. And then Matt lost it and Kingpin took it. So that's where we are right now. A beautiful recap.
10 out of 10. And Otto rips it apart in the first few pages of this arc. Shout out
As he should, because
Otto.
Shadowland sucks.
Damn, not mincing his words at all.
Because no one's gonna disagree. And if you do, That's okay. I still love you. Um, so yeah,
Oh,
I know. Um, don't say anything bad about Zeb. Um, so yeah, Otto is cute to take down the Kingpin. You know, he's like, fuck you, Daredevil, I'm gonna do it. Um, and he's got henchmen and robots and shit. He is in full supervillain mode.
yeah, his Otto Octavius tendencies are on full display. I love the big giant. I think they're called spider knots.
I don't know. They
Um,
never come
I
back, do
just
they?
well, they get blown up.
Oh,
um, and I think they're actually in issue 26 too. But what was I gonna say? I mean, I just like the designs of these big things, you know.
yeah, they're
It's
cool.
kind of like another reason. Yeah, it's kind of like why I like a lot of the stuff in the worldwide era as well. I just love like the new Spider-Mobile designs in that era and everything. And here I just like seeing Ramos draw like these big machines. And it's
Hmm,
just such a weird, like different thing to see. Like you would never see regular Spider-Man doing this, but here Otto is, you know, having his henchmen, Spider-Man henchmen. I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty unique.
for sure. And we get to play with some of the stuff that Slot set up again, kind of like in No Escape. We get to see what Slot's been doing with the Kingpin and his bodyguard type Flash and like Enforcer, which is Hobgoblin, but not the good one, the second good one. Is Phil York.
Hey, hey,
I said
hey.
second good one. I said second good one.
Right. Well,
He's better than Mackendale.
Phil. Mhm.
So there you go. Go ahead.
Um, Phil is the highlight of this arc for me. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
I abs absolutely love everything done with Phil in this arc. And I was gonna talk more about how we really got to see what Otto does now that he has like the
Mhm.
mayor in the palm of his hand, right? And all his
Sure.
funding and everything. But I honestly think, again, I just think Phil is like the funner thing to talk about because, you
Oh,
know,
for sure.
Phil Phil, you know, there's already at this point in Slot's run and everything, like Phil has already been kind of compared and contrasted to Peter Parker. He's got an Uncle
Yeah.
Ben, he works at the Bugle, et cetera, et cetera. Um,
He takes
but
pictures
in
of
this
himself.
arc, yeah, he takes pictures of himself. A great point. Thank you.
Hmm.
Um, but in this arc specifically, he really feels like an evil Peter Parker or like the villain version of Peter Parker. I love
Yeah.
how he's like being a villain doesn't pay the bills, and he's like really struggling.
Yeah. I love that.
And
I love Phil in
yeah,
general in this run, but yeah, like in Slot's run, that was really, really, really good. But yeah, like him being like, I gotta get a new cat and I gotta, I just lost my job and Roderick Kingsley wants money. It's just fun.
right. Like it's basically like Peter paying his rent, and like it's so much fun. Like I just
Yeah.
love it. I love seeing him. I think he has a line where he says like being a criminal really doesn't pay or something like that. Like I don't
Hmm.
remember the exact line. I guess I could pull up the issue, but yeah, man, it's just really fun seeing that side of being a supervillain in the Marvel
Yeah.
universe, a struggling a struggling
Yeah.
supervillain. Uh
Yeah.
yeah, it's just really cool.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to what I was saying, in the Massacre arc, where it's like there's so much great world building. Like, and they do this throughout the whole thing with like Kingsley is selling lame secret identities out, like the Grizzly and shit. And you get like the Tinkerer. He has a little shop where Phil gets all his tech and stuff. It's just great. I love the mechanics of it all. That shit is like I wish we got more of that in modern comics.
Oh, and speaking of the world building and Tinkerer's shop, who else is there but Tiberius Stone, right? Who is
Another
a seed that a
mm,
seed that's Lot planted in the big time era, teasing, you know, the 2099 timeline, and we may or may not see that, come up again very soon.
A fellow Thai from another mother. Um, we love to see it. He does have the worst line in this issue though, in this arc, which is "You mess with the wrong node." Very dumb. Did not like it.
Okay, that's fair.
Listen, I
Um,
love this arc, but didn't care for it.
Green Goblin, has a line that I think is really important in issue 14.
Mm,
Um, and it's that he's already won. By issue
yeah,
14,
he's
he's
already won.
already
Yeah,
got yeah, like he's already got his army. Otto is already clueless to everything he's doing. And I
yeah,
think it really is a key moment in the run, is
yeah.
Goblin's words here, because, when Goblin Nation finally starts, it does not hit the brakes ever. Like it is just like, look, like Goblin already had the rug and he's sweeping it under Otto, right? Like that's all Goblin
Mhm.
Nation is. There's no fight. It's just Goblin being like, you lost, and you lost. And we really
Yeah,
start to see that here, you know?
yeah. This is where we get into the end game of it all. And yeah, I love it. I love Goblin kind of going into his crime roots. Again, with being like, I'm the new Kingpin now. Like Otto got rid of the Kingpin for me, like without even knowing. And it's just it's the Goblin I like to see for sure.
Yeah, man. And we see one of your favorite characters in this arc, Robbie Robertson.
Of course, we get the whole Bugle cast in this. We get Ben Urich, Nora Winters, Robbie Robertson. I don't think Betty's in this one, but she shows up later. Um, and that whole scene with Phil and the Bugle is like top tier comic books for me. Like it is so fucking great. I love it so much.
Oh, are you talking about in 16?
I don't know the numbers, but
Like,
when when he reveals the identity and stuff.
yes. Okay, great. Yeah. So I just pulled up the issues because I wanted to fact check myself. And the line I was thinking of earlier was, Phil goes, "Since when did being a bad guy become a job?" And I just really love that line.
I
Um,
also love the line where
um,
Kings is like, I love the line where Kings is like, you can't pay me, you're a supervillain. Rob a bank, look free. Like that's such a good line. So good.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, and now that I'm like kind of scanning through the issue again,
mhm.
issue 15 has one of my favorite like Ramos panels from this era, and it's just Otto like in his like HQ, like sitting in the chair with a mask off, like
Yeah.
pondering like, how did
If he
Peter
should
do
stop.
this? I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
pondering if he should even like bother with Peter Parker. And the person to get him out of that funk is Anna Maria, which is
Yep,
interesting.
very
Um,
interesting.
but talking about the Bugle stuff a little bit more, I know Otto like murdered people and shit, and you mentioned the thing in No Escape, which is really good. But this might be the coldest thing Otto does. Just completely exposes you Phil's identity to the public. Oh, so good. Just perfect,
I
dude.
know. He like Mysterio's him from Far From Home. Like it's
Yeah, he does. He
crazy seeing
does.
this.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
like
And it's just mhm.
the same
Go
way
ahead.
that in No Way Home, like as soon as Peter's identity goes out in No Way Home, like as soon as that happens, you see how everyone starts crowding him, and like the intensity like immediately goes up.
Yeah,
Like this
it's so
comic
intense.
has that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's intense, it's suspenseful. Everyone at the Bugle is like, wait, like they're starting to piece it together. Like that actually makes sense. Wait, we have no evidence. Like, oh, it's so good. The tension
Yeah.
is
And
amazing.
I love how Robbie handled the situation. A good character moment for Robbie. Um, when it's like, if I like, don't touch your keyboard. If I see any tweets about this, you're fired. Like, I don't know. It's so good. Like, he handles the situation so well. His Spider-Man, like, fucks him over. Like, straight up.
Yeah.
Which is great. And especially when it's Robbie, who, is such a, he's one of Spider-Man's boys.
Yeah, he's like such a voice of reason, like a great
Hmm.
like mentor, or I how do you say it? Like a role model, I guess. just a great character.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah. Hey guys, this is Tyler from the future. There's a real quick point that me and Carlos forgot to mention, which is that during the attack, Ben Urich gets hurt, and the only reason, not the only reason, but one of the reasons that Peter, or Otto in this case, gets defeats Urich is because Urich has more care for these people than Otto even does. Like Phil cares about the people in this building way more than Otto does at this point, and that is how Phil is defeated, which I thought was a really neat detail. Just a little thing I wanted to point out. You know, you have the beatdown of Phil Urich, and you think he's gonna die because Otto's got the flame sword to him. Um, it's kind of surprising he doesn't kill him. I'm glad he doesn't, but you really do feel for Urich in this one.
Yeah, you definitely do feel for Phil Urich in this arc. And that moment you mentioned with the fire sword, I mean, that's one of my favorite moments in Superior. I just think it's like so threatening and scary. Like
Mhm.
it every time I read it, I'm always like, oh my God, man, like Otto cannot be Spider-Man. Like he's about
Yeah,
to chop this guy's head off. And the only reason he doesn't, I feel, is because the Avengers call him like in that moment and he's like, fine,
yeah,
like I think we're done here. Like, it's so eerie.
yeah. You were speaking about great lines earlier. My favorite line of the issue is from Phil when when he finally like goes, okay, well, fuck it. And reveals he's the Goblin. He has like Nora, um, and has like flame sword to her throat, and is like, nothing says Goblin like a dead blonde. And I'm just like, that's cold. That's balls.
My line of the issue would definitely be the again with the fire sword, where he's like, "Oh, that sonic scream of yours is a problem. Like, if only there was a way of stopping it from leaving your throat." As he like picks up the sword. Oh my God!
Yeah,
Like that's cold. That is a
man,
crazy line.
you got to stop talking about this issue. All I want to do is read it again. Um, so we also get at the end the Return of Menace from Brand New Day. Very cool to see her. Her design kind of sucks, but it's fine. And we also get Phil Urich becoming the Goblin Knight.
And you know, Phil Urich Hobgoblin is my second favorite Goblin, other than Norman. Um, and
Same.
part of that is, look, I'm sorry, I know you're a Kingsley guy, but just hear me
Yeah.
out. Part of that, part of that is his design. I love the
hmm
wings and the sword and how he has the sonic scream. Like, I think it just really sets him apart. But when
hmm
he becomes a Goblin Knight, he also gets a cool look. Like I like the Goblin Knight design as well. But it's not
I like
I don't like it as much as just his regular one though.
it's a little boring. I gotta be honest. I don't really like the Goblin Knight design all that much. I like the name, but yeah, it's a bit of a boring
Yeah,
design. It's not bad, but I don't know.
it's definitely not as good as his regular Hobgoblin design, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So I think that's it for this arc. This one's deal one of my favorites. I could talk about it for hours. To be honest, it is so good. Ramos is the perfect artist for this. Um, he really captures that crazy tension and like bombasticness of this.
And also, Ramos is the one who designed not only the new Superior suit, but also he designed Phil Urich Hobgoblin. So it's really cool seeing him play with his toys in this arc. I mean, it's just a great arc.
Yeah. No, and you mentioned earlier, but I do like his Hobgoblin design quite a bit. It's not as streamlined as JLJ's Roger Kingsley design from the 80s. I feel like that one, well, it is more Green Goblin, but orange. There's just something so perfect about it. But I do like this one quite a bit. It's modern, sleek. It fits like the big time aesthetic.
Mhm.
But we're gonna get into one of Carlos's favorites, so get ready for this one. Uh 2099.
Oh my God, Tyler, I love this arc so much.
It's pretty good. I don't got a lot of notes on it, but I did quite enjoy it.
I think the first thing I want to point out is just how much Slott uses the 2099 slang in this arc.
Oh yeah, he big fan.
From the shock to the jam, etc., etc. Great uses of 2099
Big
slang. I
jam.
love it. Uh, Bithead, I think, comes up as well. Um,
Um,
yes, and also um,
um,
this arc not only sets up a lot of stuff for the future, but it also does a callback
future.
to I. Oh, haha, future, nice.
I kill
But it
tomorrow.
also, yeah, exactly. It does a callback to I Killed Tomorrow, which is a great little two-parter from the big time era that I love.
I have that in my notes for sure. Um, yeah, man. Freaking. I'll be honest. I might get some flames for this. I'm not the biggest 2099 fan, to be honest. Like I appreciate him. I do like him. Like, but I'm not like reading every 2099 mini. And trust me, there was a lot of them. But man, he's so cool in this arc. He's dope.
He is dope. And in general, like this is the arc that really, I think, pays off a lot of Slots setups from big time the most, because in big time you start to see again like you Tiberius Stone and like setting that up with hinting at the 2099 timeline. And then here, not only do we bring 2099 to the present, but also we establish Alchemax in the present. And I love how Alchemax is a merger between Allen Chemical and Max Model's Horizon. I think that's so clever, such a cool way to bring that into the 616. I'll always I've always considered that one of my favorite parts of the Superior run. And this also low key sets up Beyond and other stuff that comes later because Alchemax buying Horizons um, intellectual property, it's very similar to how Beyond buys Parker Industries and talking about how you know just capitalism being a big theme in Spider-Man and everything. I think it's so cool.
Capitalism, baby.
And um And oh, on my notes for this arc for talking about it with you, I
Yeah.
I took note of a little detail. I'm not sure if you noticed,
Ooh. Yeah, throw it at
but
me.
in this arc we see Mason Banks
Oh,
lurking.
yep, I
Um,
have that in my notes.
oh, you caught it, nice. But
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I I thought that was
Who's
really
that Mason
cool.
Banks? Who's that guy?
I wonder who that guy is.
I don't know, he's
I
a
wonder if
weirdo.
he's important. Yeah.
Probably not. Probably
Um,
not.
that's probably nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just turn our Autobots
He's
off
definitely not
and look away
definitely
for
not the
now.
Green Goblin. That'd be
Oh no,
stupid.
I mean, obviously he looks nothing like Norman Osborn. Why would he?
Do you even see his face in
But
this? I don't remember.
I think you like he's in the background like 24/7 here.
Oh yeah.
So if you do see his
Um,
face, it's like small, you know.
yeah. Um,
Hmm.
people who are listening to this, if you can't tell, Carlos loves this arc so much. I have not spoke for like the last 10 minutes.
It has not been 10 minutes, but let's keep the trend going because uh, this arc also has a scene and just like a dilemma I really love. And it's when everything's going crazy. Oh wait, actually this before I get to that, this arc has another thing I really love that I want to talk about first. And it is when in issue 18, the time machine is going crazy. It's going to blow up. And Miguel shows up first and he's like, oh, it's okay. I can fix this. Don't worry. And you're like, oh, great. Miguel got there. He's going to fix this. But the cliffhanger to 18 is Otto showing up and just knocking out Miguel with one punch. And I think it's such a great cliffhanger because usually your hero showing up to the scene of like the suspense is usually a good thing. And you're like, okay, our hero's here. But here, our hero is the one making things worse. And he shows up and he punches Miguel. And you're like, no, Otto, what are you doing? Like everything is going to crap. So I love that. And then I love also um, just the concept of the obstacle for Otto is that he has to solve this equation that Peter solved on his first day at Horizon, right? And Max Modell is like you can do this, right? Or whatever. And Otto's like, yeah, I can totally do this. If Peter could do it, I could do it. But he can't do it. He can't handle it under pressure. Like Otto is this guy that has to like plan things out and think things through, but Peter is the guy that is there when like the chips are down and you need to improvise, and that's how he solved this equation to begin with. And this is the problem that Otto can't solve, and he has this moment where he's trying to dig through the remaining memories he has of Peter, like is it in there, like I need to figure this out. Um and in that spread you see Ghost Peter climbing up from the rubble that he was left under in issue 9. And that's a great setup for the future. But then on top of that, it leads to Otto being like, oh my God, like, am I inferior? And it all blows up in his face. Um, and that sets up Spider-Verse. And I just think that's so awesome how, like, when he gets back from the explosion, he's saying, like, the last lines he will go on to say in Spider-Verse, and he doesn't remember what happened. Oh, it's such a great way to set up the future. I love this plot device so much, Tyler. I think it's one of the best setups in Slott's history on Spider-Man. But yeah, okay, I'm done gushing. I just love all of that so much. Okay.
So I'm a go. I'm just gonna let you have the channel. I think you can handle it. I'm gonna head out.
No, Tyler, come back. I'm sorry.
Okay, well you said like everything. So I'll try to throw some stuff in there. He didn't mention the softball game that we get at the beginning of the arc. I really like that because it again shows just Otto's ego and shit. Like this would be a scene where Peter is like, I can't reveal I have spider powers. I have to be, coy and be dumb and like like swing too hard and like fall on my butt and yada yada. And Otto's like, no, I'm just gonna fucking do the Incredibles thing where I just win the race. That's always fun. We get I think this is the first appearance, correct me if I'm wrong, of Hector.
No, think I think Hector is in
Clyde.
a couple of previous things. I'm not, man. Oh, you got me. Because off the top of my head, I can't name it, but I do think he was in No Turning Back? Question mark? Or
Maybe.
was he in? I think he was in. A part of me wants to say he was in Ends of the Earth or No Turning Back, and another part of me wants to say he was in the background of a previous issue
Mm,
where like Max and the Horizon gang are trying to get a hold of Otto, but like obviously like this is all beneath him, so he's like not paying attention. But I don't know.
right.
But Hector is cool
Um,
to see for sure.
yeah. Uh, as you were saying, like this like feels like the most like big time of it all and like paying off stuff from big time, and I think that's just because it's the end of the Horizon stuff mostly. I mean, it kind of comes in and out, but it's mostly this is kind of the big end of it. Like Peter loses his job. Um, Horizon isn't a company anymore by the end of this. It's kind of, been bought up by Alchemax. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really hurts like
Mhm.
when Otto really damages Peter's relationship with Max here. Like
Yeah. Big time.
that scene of Max like just being disappointed with Peter and like saying like we're done or whatever, like that scene kind of hurts. And again, that's just another reason why I like this arc because I think it's really like Otto takes many L's in this arc, and I think this is one of the first times in Superior where we're seeing Otto like
Mhm.
fail a lot. Like he ruins the relationship with Max, and he barely manages to like not blow up all of New York, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's pretty cool stuff in my opinion.
But there is like cool, like classic stuff in there. Like there's, he almost blows up the city, but he also is like, oh no, I have to make sure I can do my thesis and stuff. Like that shit was in Horizon and I have to do this and that. And that's classic Spider-Man stuff with the auto flavor in it. Also we get a lot of the supporting cast, we get a lot of Liz Allen in this, which is very cool with the Alchemax stuff. We get to see Normie Osborn, he's creepy as hell. I love how Ryan Stegman draws him. Um, Super creepy. Um, and yeah, I really like all the 2099 stuff. Like Ryan Stegman's 2099 is the coolest. And yeah, um, I will say the only like thing about Miguel in this arc that I quite don't like is he gets trapped in the past for a long time after this. And I just think that was kind of dumb, but that was more for editorial than I think the slot. Um, so yeah.
Last little plot point, I guess, is that at the end of this arc, Carly finally has proof that
Mhm.
Superior is Otto, and she's she's tracked his bank accounts and everything. So yeah,
Yeah. We get that, and we get some more race action. Check go out of the new video game, Plug Plug. We get Wraith in the little thingies on the bottom. So when people type in Wraith, they might find this video. Um, there's also some Roger Kingsley stuff, Green Goblin's framing Kingsley, which is very fun. Um, and Keto pretty much damages the MJ relationship. I mean, Peter, I said Peter, I meant Otto. Otto damages the MJ relationship like pretty badly to the point where like I feel like if they wrote her out of the book, it might feel permanent
yeah, they're pretty distant at this time for sure.
for sure, for sure. She's still looking good though. And that is a constant thing with MJ in this span of issues. Everyone's drawing her so well.
Indeed. Ready. Speaking of MJ, ladies. Oh god, that was terrible. But the next arc, the Lethal Ladies arc. You want to get into
Lethal
it?
ladies, ooh, yeah. I call it stunning women. And
Oh no, it's
speaking of,
that's actually what it's called. It's called
are
Lethal
you
Ladies.
serious? Well, I think only one. I don't
Yeah.
think the Stunno stuff is actually called that, but whatever.
Okay.
Maybe it is. Who cares? It doesn't matter. There actually is a lot of women in this. I just realized a lot of females. So let's start off with one you're probably not expecting, but is definitely Collis's favorite. We get to see Madam Web.
Oh yeah. Hey Julia. Yep, we do. Shout out Madam Web.
Shout out Madam Web. She's there. She's talking about Spider-Verse. I don't care. Um,
Spider-Verse, Tyler. Spider-Verse setup. Ah,
the auto one is better in 2099. So then we also get Black Cat in this. This is mostly about Black Cat, and I think that's super interesting because Otto and Black Cat have a interesting history, if you will. It's going back to Our Octopus War again. Otto hated Black Cat for a long time after that. Um, like he was gonna rip her arms off and shit. Like it was brutal. Like he was mad.
him punching Black Cat here is also just really like
It's brutal.
shocking. Like it,
Yeah.
every time I read it, I don't see it coming, even though I know it's going to happen. But it's just kind of
Right.
like another, like I guess one of Otto's tropes as the superior Spider-Man is just like punching the wrong person, like sucker punching the wrong
Yeah.
person. Like he sucker punches Miguel in the 2099 arc, and then here he sucker punches Felicia, and then in the very next arc, he's going to do the same to Flash Thompson. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, man. Um, yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I like bringing up that old history. This also leads to Black Cat becoming a fucking kingpin, and we won't talk about that here. Um, we also get beginning of Palco Industries.
I was going to bring that up, but yes,
Sure, sure.
that's probably my favorite development from these two issues is the beginning of
Yeah,
Parker Industries. I do
totally.
think these two issues are probably the weakest in the run for me, and I
Mm,
wonder if that's because you know how Slott originally intended to do Spider-Verse within Superior. I wonder if maybe it was supposed to be like during these two issues in the Venom arc, like I feel like that would be where it would fit in my head. It would be after 2099 and then the six issues from the beginning of the Lethal Ladies to the end of uh Superior Venom. I feel like that's probably where Spider-Verse would have fit maybe, and
yeah.
I wonder if that's it, but either way these are just kind of like the slowest issues too. Like
I wonder
nothing
where
insane
mhm.
happens.
I wonder where he would have
Yeah.
fit Palco Industries in if we did do Spider-Verse.
Who knows? I mean, probably
Yeah.
after Superior, after Peter came back, you know.
Mm, that'd be weird. Um, but Stunner is also back. Black Ops X. Fun to see you back. Good idea from Slotto. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about Stunner, to be honest, but it's fun to have Leo. And they see it out well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think that's about it for this arc, right? I mean, I'm ready to go to Venom if you are.
Before we finish this arc, I would like to talk about the big thing that Slot sets up in this, which is the fact that Otto's body's gone. Wallace, uh,
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself that I forgot this. I left it out of my notes. But yeah, so Carly at this point has like figured out that, you know, Otto is Spider-Man and she has proof and, you know, everything is set when suddenly she falls into Otto's grave and his body is not there and she gets kidnapped. And that I believe is Slot setting up clone conspiracy all the way back in Superior, which is just crazy, and I love him for it.
definitely was an insane detail at the time. I remember the theories about it. It was crazy. There's a couple of things I will mention about like what people were thinking about at the time. But yeah, I remember people being like, "What the heck's this? Did the Goblin do this?" Like, it feels like it's a Goblin thing for sure, but it's Benjamin Riley,
The
ah,
Jackal.
the Jackal himself. But yeah, and the Goblin gets the journal from Colony, and I think I remember a lot of people at the time were like, "Oh crap, he knows Peter Spider-Man now." That was a big thing
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah. But apparently Carly was really careful with her word choice.
She's a small cookie. She's a small cookie. Yeah, it it's not a plot hole, but it kind of feels like one almost. It's like you really had to stretch for that one, but okay.
We had to save Peter's identity reveal for Go Down Swinging.
So true. But we're gonna jump right into the next arc, Subcurio Venom. Um, and to start this off, we get another stunning woman, Betty Brant. She's back at the Bugle and is trying to do stuff with Crime Master and stuff, trying to expose him.
As you know, and as many of my friends know, I love Betty Brant, and my God, I love how Ramos draws her. And
For real.
Ramos, just major shout out to Ramos for this whole arc. Nice to have him back. I love the cover to 22 with Superior engulfed in the symbiote, and how the symbiote is the Venom logo as well.
Mhm.
Um, just great art from Ramos. I think that's one of the big highlights of this arc for me is just Ramos's work and seeing him draw Agent Venom as well. Really nice. Good stuff.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, for an arc that wasn't supposed to exist, man, does Slot use it well. Um, Not only do we get like Crime Master, which is always fun, but we get. I think this is where we get to have fun with Polko Industries with Otto. Um, we get Cardiac there, and that's all good and dandy. Um, and there's just a lot of fun we do there. Anna Maria stuff, Sajani stuff, just interesting stuff all around.
It's making me think now. Sorry, my mind is wandering, but I'm just wondering now if Slot had done Spider-Verse here, would Ramos had have drawn Spider-Verse? Like my brain is exploding.
Oh,
Anyway,
oh my God,
um,
that would have been peak.
but we see the Arachnauts again and the Superior Henchmen. Just some again more great art by Ramos. Yeah, I'm just skimming through the pages now for this arc because I don't have too many notes on it. Um, but
Oh, don't worry,
yeah,
I
man,
can.
I just
I'll shoot you some stuff I have.
yeah, go for it, go
Um,
for it.
Again, wanted to mention Yuri. She's looking for Foley now, which is, cool and stuff. And Yuri's in the game, and that's why I'm bringing her up. I also just really like Yuri in general. I think more should have been done with her, but she's fun. She gets to, you know, be mean to Mary Jane.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, and Ramos is MJ in this arc, so good.
Oh yeah,
Anyway,
she's great. The nightclub's back. She gets to hang out with Nappa. Um, Sorry.
and not to like skip directly to the end, but like when Otto has the
Oh my
symbiote and he like
goodness.
venoms out. Sorry, I'm sorry, but when he has the symbiote and he venoms out in front of MJ, and it's like kind of a callback to Amazing, like 300 or 298. I don't remember. No, yeah, 300, right? Um,
299, 300. Yeah.
yeah. Great stuff, man. Just great
Yeah.
stuff.
Nah, it's really good. It's a lot using the history and stuff. We get a lot of Peter and Anna in this arc. I love the scene where Peter asks Anna to come meet his parents. That's very, very cute. And I was really rooting for them this arc.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, agreed, agreed.
We get the cute line where they're talking on the phone and Anna says kissy kissy, and you have that great panel of Otto with the hearts going kissy kissy. Like, that's cute.
Auto blushing. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. We also get to see a lot of Roger Kingsley in this, and his status quo and stuff was, him doing the giving identities out and shit, which again, I just think is so fucking cool. Like, what a brilliant idea. And him dealing with the fact that, he's being framed and stuff. All good. Love that. I love Roger Kingsley, and Slot does great stuff with him. I really have to thank Slot because I think without him, Kingsley might have become irrelevant. Like, they kind of wrote him off after Hobgoblin lives. Like, you have goblins at the gate, and then he kind of retires, and we don't see him again until big time. So Slot really, I think, really popularized him in the modern age.
And speaking of slot things, Agent Venom and Flash,
Of course,
I'm glad I'm bringing it up because I'm glad to see them being close here because I always can't help but wonder like what it would have been like if Slot had gotten to play more with Agent Venom and Peter,
would have
because I
been
do feel
peak.
like I feel like there's a lot of potential there, or there was.
Mhm. Yeah.
And this one panel where Flash goes to Peter thinking it's Peter, but it's actually Otto.
Yeah, I
And
definitely want to talk
you know,
about that.
yeah, and there's that panel where they have like their other selves floating behind them, where like Peter has Spider-Man behind him and Flash has Venom behind him, and I just think that's such a great dynamic. Like Peter being Spider-Man and Flash being Venom is such a cool dynamic, and it's one of those things from this era that we didn't really get a lot of, but I wish we did. But
And it's a great costume in that video game, right? Wink, wink.
which video game?
I was making a joke because I know you want it in Spider-Man 2, and maybe you have it right now.
Oh, right. I really do hope that the Agent Venom suit is in Spider-Man 2. So, future Carlos, future Tyler, if you guys have the Agent Venom suit, I hope you're playing with it and having fun. Oh my God, I can't wait.
But get serious. You mentioned the moment where Flash comes to Peter at his house as Paul met with and Anna Maria's there. And I love that moment because I realized while reading it this last time, I'm like, this is such a great subversion of the scene in Amazing Free 15, I want to say, where Eddie Brock goes to Aunt May's house. Um,
Oh, I never thought of that.
yeah, yeah, right. It's so good. Like, I don't know if that was intentional, but it really feels like it has that similar tension, but for completely different reasons. Like, obviously, um, you know, Flash is a good guy, but like Spider-Man's a villain kind of now. So it's like the opposite. It's a really, really good subversion.
It is a really tense sequence of events. Also, it doesn't help that we have like that Aunt May scene with the dinner table where Flash
Yeah,
is there,
yeah,
May is there, Jay is there, Anna Maria's there, and like Otto's just in a mood already. May makes that comment that upsets him about Anna Maria, and Flash is like ready to go, but
yeah. He's
obviously
like, I
like
gotta
Otto
get out of here.
yeah, but Otto needs him there, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
the tension is pretty high there, and it gets
yes,
higher later
totally.
on.
Speaking about the MA stuff, kind of a controversial thing. Was whole not how do I say it? Um, hmm, well, how should I say this? But
I don't know.
she's kind of being like, she's not being a bigot. It's not malicious, but she is being like a little rude. And I think that was a kind of a controversial point. Like, would Aunt May do this? Like, you know,
Yeah, yeah. I have seen other people talk about that scene for sure, that Aunt May moment. But I honestly think it's like in character in the arc, and like
mm,
she apologizes for it as well, and like I think she's just coming from a place of, I mean, I guess I don't know, like she's kind of like an old lady.
yeah,
She's, um, but yeah, like I don't know, like I didn't find it controversial or it didn't bother me. I like it is like you said, I can see how it is rude. And it definitely gets to Anna Maria and Otto. Um, but I do feel like, like she apologizes for it, and I feel like, you know, it doesn't feel like a huge part of the arc
mm,
for me. Like it's just like a
sure,
moment. But I
yeah,
mean, I don't know. That's just me.
yeah. Um, we get Superior Venom. Pretty cool design. Not my favorite to be honest, but it's there. It's cool. Um,
The red
yeah,
eyes go kind of hard. Like that one panel where I don't know what issue it is, but there's one panel that really highlights the red eyes. It's really creepy.
yeah. I also just think that this arc is one of these arcs that just has like so much going on and the world feels so lively. Because again, like we have the MJ stuff, we got the Flash and Peter stuff, we got the Anna Maria stuff, we got the Goblin stuff.
My favorite issue in the arc is definitely the last one where where it all kind of explodes, right? And Superior
Yeah.
Venom is going crazy, and the Avengers show up, and I feel like that's
Yeah.
when the arc is strongest. Although, the interpersonal relationship stuff, well, there's still
Bread
some of
and
that in
butter
the last issue.
for
Yeah,
sure. Um, I will say
yeah,
Slot taking a page out of Bendis with Symbiote Spider-Man versus the Avengers. Um, Probably did it a little better, to be honest, but just wanted to point out the similarities.
for sure, for sure.
I really like how the Green Goblin's doing again, still framing Kingsley. We get a fun scene. He takes off the mask and realizes he's the Green Goblin, but he doesn't have his sleepy cap. So he looks like the Jackal. It's really weird. Straight up a cursed image.
One thing I like about this arc is, uh, when Otto finally gets the symbiote off, he
Mhm.
very quickly on his feet uses the symbiote as a scapegoat for why he's been acting so differently
Weird.
lately. Um, and
Mhm.
it doesn't like super work. Like the Avengers are still like, I don't know, bro. Like we're not buying it anymore. Like Otto's definitely at the end of his rope here. Um,
For
uh,
sure.
this whole second section of the run is like him slowly heading towards his
Failing.
downfall for sure.
Right.
Um, but I did think it was a good enough excuse. Like I would have maybe been
Mhm.
swayed. I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess he had the symbiote. Like, okay.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
talk a little bit more on that in a second. But I also want to talk about um Paulie becomes a goblin in this
Monster. Yeah.
monster. Great name, so original.
Monster and Menace. I mean, they go
I
together.
guess, yeah. There you go. A monster menace. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Poor Collie. She didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
And then I just want to talk about Mary Jane. Because, big MJ fan right here. Um, yeah, I like MJ in this arc a lot. The Peter and Hulk confrontation is super tense and great, and you have the moment, referring back to 300, which I think is super good. I think MJ buys the symbiote excuse a little more than most. She also does call the Avengers, which I think is great.
I like MJ in the Yuri scenes, how she's like
Oh yeah.
kind of in a difficult position because she wants to like protect Peter, but etc. Like that was pretty. That felt like classic like '90s MJ to me, like keeping the secret but also
Mhm.
being involved.
Yeah, I think Slot is the best MJ writer that is not writing Peter in the relationship. Like, you know what I mean? Like as MJ as a supporting cast member who is not romantically with Peter.
Yeah, he does a good job with them as like exes.
Yeah. It just feels like
Um,
that MJ feels fully in the supporting cast. It's like the same way that like Robbie does or Jonah or something. Like she really fits well and has agency.
right, and throwing it back to something I brought up in part one is talking about how this run kind of makes it feel like Peter and MJ are soulmates, and the one of those moments is at the end of this arc when Peter's ghost has returned, right? And you know, MJ has a little moment with Otto where she tells him like, "Oh, like yeah, like I feel it again. You're back." And Otto's
Mhm.
like, "Okay, I fooled her with my symbiote lie. I fooled them all." But low key, she's right because Ghost Peter is back, and that makes me
Yeah.
feel like
And
they're soulmates, bro.
I love that you brought that up to me because I think that really made me appreciate MJ more in this story arc. Because I really never thought about it like that, but that is such a excellent point. Yeah, I just great point. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about this arc, but I do have my little headcanon about something that could help you know, emphasize Peter's return in a way.
Yeah, what is
Because,
it?
thanks, well, funny you should say, Tyler. Thanks for setting me up because in future Venom comics, we would go on to discover that symbiotes carry codexes of everyone that's warned them, right? Shout out Donnie Cates for that development. And
Holy shit.
so, what?
No, you blew my fucking mind. That was not a fake reaction.
Oh,
I literally
oh,
gasped.
great. Yeah, so my little headcanon.
That's so
Um, uh,
good. Oh, what?
uh, Tyler, I haven't even explained it yet, but
I'm sorry. I
but
know what you
um,
mean.
but yeah, so like my head canon is because like obviously we do see that Peter like climbed his way through the rubble in 19. So like it has already been established in Superior that Ghost Peter is back, but for me, I think my headcanon is that part of why Peter steps in here in the Venom arc, in the Superior Venom arc, is because the Venom symbiote attaching itself to Otto kind of connected Peter's body to Peter's codex again in the symbiote. And that is, so Peter's ghost is kind of strengthened by that. That's my headcanon there. A little complicated symbiote lore headcanon, but I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. That's so cool. Um, so Goblin Nation. Go for it.
Oh shit. Oh shit. It's time. Here we go.
Let's talk about the prelude issue a little bit.
Yes. Do you want to start?
You go ahead.
Well, this prelude issue, I think this recent reread gave me the deepest appreciation for it I've ever had because I don't think I ever noticed that this issue kind of draws a parallel between Peter and Norman, like building up to their eventual confrontation. Issue 26 is Peter, rising back up. He's like seeing where he's at, and like there's only 31 memories that he can access, and he's in a way at his lowest, but that's when he remembers, like, when I'm at my lowest, like that's when, when the odds are against me, like, that's when it matters, that's when it counts, referencing the final, chapter, uh Master Planner trilogy iconic, the rubble scene, basically, right? So I like how the rise of Ghost Peter in those Marcos Martin sections of the issue parallel like what Norman is saying to Hobgoblin when he shows him the scars on his chest. Like, like every time a goblin comes back, he comes back stronger, and how that's just like Peter in a way, right? And I like that parallel between them, and noticing that made me really like this issue a lot more than before. I also just love when the Avengers like pull up on Otto and he's just like, not now, I'm busy. Like that was just funny.
Yeah. I where did it begin? This is kind of part of Venom, but I kind of wonder if maybe we shouldn't have seen Ghost Pete until this arc. Because I think this is where we get into some of the complicated things. But let's not headcanon. Things have happened. Let's move on. Um, we get Javier Rodriguez in this issue, which is really cool. He's does great work. And Marcus Martin, of course, the GOAT. Those Peter Mindscape scenes are dynamite, super good. And as you said, Peter has 31 memories left. I remember that was a big deal back in the day. A lot of people thought that when Peter got back, he would only have those 31 memories left, which I've always thought was an interesting idea. Like, I kind of want to see the universe where that happened, because that'd be a very interesting way to move forward.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of that actually. I didn't know that was like a theory at the time. That's cool.
Yeah. Um, we also get to have our Goblin versus Goblin fight that
Uh,
people have wanted for years. It's a little undercut by the end, but you know, it's still cool to see.
Yep, yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. Are you
Uh, I just let me
are
think. Trying to think of this
mhm.
issue. The auto stuff in this issue kind of sucks. Like I do like the Avengers being auto being like not to the Avengers, but honestly, the Peter and Norman stuff is so good. And you mentioned the parallels, which is great. Also, I'm very glad that one Slot now knows you can't kill Robert Kingsley or people will be mad, so he doesn't. The Butler is the Hobgoblin who gets killed, and Kingsley just says, "Okay, well, I'm done with this," which is great. You know, don't touch my boy.
Rereading this, Tyler, when I saw those Kingsley moments, I was like, man, it would have been interesting to see like Kingsley fight against CEO Peter and Worldwide, since they're both like businessmen. I was like, a part of me was like, I feel like this should happen, but obviously it never happened. But still,
We needed to let Kingsley rest so that he could be fun again in Zeb's run.
fair, fair.
Uh, Also, I noticed a cheeky reference. Norman says, "Say my name," and it's definitely a Breaking Bad reference.
Nice.
You can't convince me that's not, especially with how Harry Osborn looked in Danger Zone. Slot's a big Breaking Bad fan, I can tell.
Oh my God. Actually, I don't know if I've ever heard him talk about Breaking Bad. I wonder. Anyway.
I mean, come on, you know what Harry looked like in Danger Zone. Rose
Anyway.
Heisenberg.
Oh my God.
The Peter what do you think about which memories Peter has
Oh,
of
I
like
mean,
the
I gotta
31
look at the
memories?
issue. I
It's
just
the
know
Gwen
that
Stacy death.
mhm.
It's the Gwen Stacy death. It's obviously AF-15. The first kiss was MJ. That's the ones I remember. There's more. Oh, the 31. 33 thing. Sorry, the master planner moment.
Yeah, no, I mean the origin, Master Planner, Captain Stacy's death, I think is in there. I mean, all pretty iconic classic stories. Yeah.
Again, it leads into the idea of like, hey, what if Peter came back with just the 31 memories? It would be like the most distilled version of the character.
For sure, but I think the 31 thing is more so just a reference to the 31 issues of Superior.
Yeah, which by the way, it should have ended on 33
33.
because that's where issue 33 of Amazing Spider-Man is where he left the rubble
Oh, fair, I guess.
in Master
You
Planner.
know.
I think it should have ended at 33. That would have
Well,
been cool.
technically, Tyler, it did.
I
Technically, it did,
did, but
Tyler, because of the Spider-Verse issues. So there you go.
we don't count that shit.
Yes, we do, but we're
Fucking
not talking about them. That's fine.
no, gross. Ew. Um,
Hey, hey, hey. Those issues are great, but okay. Anyway,
um,
Tyler, Tyler, we're
yeah,
supposed to be talking about Goblin Nation.
yeah. Goblin Nation, go. Fuck, go for it.
Oh, full art, go for it. Let's start.
Yeah, just
Okay, you want to start
yeah,
with 27 then?
sure. I don't. It's all one big thing in my notes. I don't know.
Okay, great. Well, let me just say the first few pages of this arc are so fire. Oh my God. That is how you start a finale. Holy cow. It's just like 31 days later. Bam! Everything is in chaos. The rug has already been pulled under. Otto. The splash page of him looking at the bridge with the goblin paint and him realizing that he's already failed. That is gas, man. That is so fire. Oh my God. I love the opening. It is it starts the arc off with a bang and it like never lets go of the gas. Like it never takes its foot off the gas pedal. Like fire. Anyway, so
Yeah.
that's how we're starting the conversation, the same way that the arc starts with Heat.
Why 31 days? Like I always found that weird that we skipped so much. Like it's very odd to me. Like I kind of don't like it.
It's cool. It's mysterious. I don't know. Maybe we'll flash back to it in Superior Returns. Who knows? I'm excited for that though.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry. My computer phoned off. We're good though. Um, yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But yeah. I don't love it. I kind of wish we got to see more of the build up, but I guess that was the entire run. I don't know. It's like we're building. Okay, now it's we skip to everything shit.
I love that though. I don't know. I feel
Mm.
like it drops you right into it. Like we're here. We've built up to it throughout the entire run and now it's going down, and this whole arc is just stuff going down all the way through. And also, I brought up Superior Returns and like, more modern
Oh, you're
stuff. And
gonna
speaking of
talk
more,
about it?
um, I don't know if I am going to talk about what you're thinking of. I was just going to say, in more modern comics,
Mm,
Slott had his End of Spider-Verse arc, which we talked
mhm.
about, and one thing I really liked in End of Spider-Verse, especially in the first issue, was that Mark Bagley did a lot of these like spread layouts, and
Yeah.
those layouts really made it feel like epic. Those double page spread layouts, like page after page, it really added to like the high stakes. Like this is a big thing. Like it really makes you feel like what's happening now is huge. And Kevin Coley, similarly in Goblin Nation, he does a lot of spreads and splashes and it all feels appropriately like high stakes, high scale. And it really sells me on this basically just the scale of this arc or event, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out
Yeah.
to Cameron Coley for the layouts and everything.
Totally.
Love his art in this arc.
Yeah. Definitely. It's not masterful for me, but I think the art in this is solid. Also, like it feels like we're heading towards the end of this, where like Otto is gonna propose to Anna Maria, which is like, well, that can't happen. And that would be
Right.
very hard to deal with when Peter comes back. We're also kind of wrapping up Jonah's mail arc. He's got the spider slayers again now. He's falling into his old ways.
And also, not just, I mean, kind of talking about the art again, for me, I think this is the peak of Cameron Coley's work on Superior for me. And it's again because of those spreads, because throughout this series, throughout this little run of Superior, um, we've seen Otto see life through Peter's point of view. Like he's walked many miles in Peter's shoes. And one thing that we start to see in Goblin Nation is Peter walking miles in Otto's shoes. And we get these spreads of Peter like going through Otto's entire life, right?
Mm.
And those spreads also just are really well done. That also just add to the importance of everything. I feel I love
Yeah.
those pages a lot.
Okay, so I did want to bring this up because I'm gonna break your heart. I do like the art in that. I think everything you said about the art totally true. I think this was a step too far. Like I think having the pedo Otto stuff where Peter's going through his mind and is like starting to think he's Otto and stuff. I think that's way too in the weeds. It reminds me of how in the script version of Dying Wish, you have the stuff with the brain, like the red and blue brain or whatever. That's not described in the script. That's just not even close to being in Dying Wish. I just think it gets a little too complicated. It gets very Spider-Verse-y in my mind, where it's like, calm down. Like, it just feels too much.
I disagree. I think it gives Peter like one last obstacle to overcome. Like it's like this is the
Mm,
finale, but we're not at the finish line yet. Like Peter has to make it through this one last challenge. Uh, and and I think it's a good challenge because again, I think it lets Peter um, get more empathy for Otto as well, you know?
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. And I think, you know, again, I think the art is just so awesome. And I think it's like a great little send off for Otto, since this is, I mean, this is in a way like Otto dies in this arc,
yeah.
you know?
Mm,
So this feels like a it feels like a celebration almost in a way of Otto.
mm.
And I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's just one step too far for me. Where I'm like, okay, we just had Peter. The rubble was enough for me. With him climbing out of the rubble and stuff, and Ghost keep coming back. Like, I feel like I think if it's just him walking through Otto's memories and seeing them, that'd be fine. But him actually being like, "Oh, I'm Otto," too far for me. Not a fan. Um, but yeah, we talk about Otto and Norman's first interaction. We had the scene at the end of the first part, I think, where we see that Norman wants to just have a nice, lovely chat with Otto, the two chat, and it's really a great scene. It's one of my favorite Norman scenes in recent times before Lord and Savior Zeb Wells. Um, but yeah, I really like that scene. It's really, really good.
I like that scene too. I like how when Otto gets there, it's Norman and like a crew of other people, right?
Mhm.
Um, and Norman just tells them to go, and Otto's like, "You gave up your advantage. Like, why would you do that?" I think I think that might be another parallel between Norman and Peter because that's something that Slott points out about Peter too, that like he needs to do or whatever.
Yeah,
Um, So question mark, maybe a parallel there, but I like that confrontation. I like how Norman like and Otto like sit down and Norman basically tells him like we can rule the galaxy as father and son, but Otto like goes crazy once he gets called Norman's second. That's when he loses it, you know. I love that little
totally.
display of his ego. Hmm.
Yeah. Also, it wouldn't be Norman Osborn if he didn't make things personal. So he blows up Spider Island. He did that earlier, but he blows up Spider Island. No, he doesn't. He does that now. I forgot. Otto's a hologram. Um, he blows up Spider Island. He blows up the not chemical factory, but the test site that Otto got his arms. And one other place, I think.
Oh yeah, so in issue 28 is when we get that spread, I think, right?
Yeah. Uh,
Where
yeah, numbers.
where he blows up his childhood home,
The
the
childhood home.
atomic research center, um, the atomic research center where Duck Ock was created. I think he blows up the heart clinic where he saved that girl, um, and he blows up Spider Island. Yep.
Yeah, and at the time of this recording, Superior Returns has not come out yet. It comes out in 2 weeks, I think. But either or, um, it seems like that might be a little bit. They might do a little retcon with that and say that Otto had something there or something that might tie into the new villain. This is the Carlos theory. I'm just stealing it.
Go ahead. It's totally fine. But yeah, I'm excited for Superior Returns. And while we're talking about stuff happening in issue 28, I just want to say that issue 28 has one of my favorite Goblin images ever. Like that cover of goblin with the chess pieces. Oh my
Yeah. Oh,
God.
that's so cool.
I love that cover. Again, Coley draws my favorite goblins, and I think maybe that's another big reason why I love this arc so much.
Yeah, Camo
Um,
gets to go crazy with all the goblins.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just more of Goblin having Otto on the ropes, blowing everything up for him. Like he literally erases like every trace of Otto's existence.
Hmm.
Like I know earlier we were like, well, I brought up that in issue 14, like Goblin has already beat Otto, quote unquote. But here he's just like wiped him off the face of the earth. Like, what does
Yeah.
Otto even have at this point? Oh, well, I'll tell you what he has because Norman um gives this little speech to Otto here. Um, is that here? I think it is here. Oh man. Is it here? I think so. Where Norman basically says like that ought to teach you a lesson or whatever, and Otto starts thinking like teach like lesson. Um, Oh wait, no, I think that might be in the next issue. I don't know. But anyway, you start to see like some differences of like what Otto would do versus what Peter would do because when all of Otto's stuff gets blown up, like Otto's first thought is like, oh, like Norman knows who I am. He knows how to target me. I need to go get my stuff. Whereas I
Yeah.
feel like Peter Peter would have thought like Norman knows who I am. I need to go to my loved ones. And Otto
Right.
doesn't think that. And the first thing that happens is that Menace picks up Anna Maria. Like right there, it's
Right.
like you're
Hmm.
already done, Otto. Like it's
Yeah.
over for
You
you. Like
you definitely lost.
yeah,
Yeah. This is where
yeah.
Otto not having Otto's humanity is like his breaking point in this. Like he just doesn't have the compassion that Peter does. But MJ does. And MJ does do what Peter probably would have done in this situation, which is get everybody out of there. Like she gets Aunt May and Jay out. We get to see her use the web
Yeah.
shooters, which is kind of a I don't know, that the way that scene is done is a little goofy, but overall it's a fine scene.
Yeah, that part was a little goofy.
Yeah. Also in an annual marriage interest of hope anyway, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Um, but you were talking about teachers and stuff and all that. We do find out that I'm gonna say his name wrong, Cole, so you can correct me. Lamaz, Lamaz, Lamaz.
Yeah, so one of Norman's targets ends up being Professor Lamaze, which I don't know how to correct you because I've never heard this name out loud. And I was actually about to ask, is is his name a joke? Is it supposed to sound like lame ass? Like now that I think about it, like
That's very
is that?
juvenile, which means
But I feel
Slot
like
definitely could have done that.
because I feel like he would do like a name joke, right? I don't know.
Right,
So
yeah.
I was looking at his name and I was like, is Lamaze supposed to be Lamaze or like Lamaze? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so Goblin targets Lamaze. Um
But he is
and
not a lame
yeah,
ass because he saves Otto's life
he does.
and
And
gets a
I
pretty
like
brutal death.
yeah, it is a pretty brutal death. I like how Norman hacks the arms and expected that from Otto. Um
Mhm.
But I also like when Lamaze is dying and talking to Otto, he compares himself to, he says that he's a fat, pompous ass, and that's all I ever was. And I just wanted to, at least I got to do this or whatever.
Mhm.
And I felt like there was a pretty clear comparison being drawn there between Lamaze and
Otto,
Otto,
yeah.
and how, yeah, I mean, his whole arc basically. So, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. But to move on, I like that. I think that's great. Great moment. Move on a little bit with the Polka industry stuff. Like, we're tying up balks. So like the race stuff comes in. She goes after Peter. Uh, they deal with Collie. Uh, Otto and Sajani take care of that. And Wraith gets knocked out, which is funny because there's a great joke later where Otto's leaving and the living brain is holding her and she's like starting to come to. And the living brain's like, a Wraith is coming, is um the Wraith is coming too. Should I offer a tasty beverage? Yeah. I fucking laughed really hard. I don't know why. That really got me.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, it was really like I just chuckled at that. It was a good one. I gotta
I
so
like
a lot of times slots jokes don't work sometimes for me. So I have to shout out the ones that really do.
I always think it's funny how we laugh at different jokes.
Yeah, what we have very different sense of humors.
Yeah.
Um uh Also again we're wrapping a box, so like Spider Slayer stuff's happening, the 2099 stuff. Honestly, it's kind of bloat for me. Like I just we're there.
I think it's cool, man. I think it's cool how it's all coming together. Like, I think this is such a good season finale. Like, if this was a finale, if this arc was a season finale in a show, I feel like I'd be pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, and then we get Otto hesitating to save someone. Full circle.
Yeah. 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 I'm gonna pull you back a little bit because there was something I want to talk about beforehand. It just always bugs the hell out of me. It never goes anywhere. Um, they literally tease the fact that Liz Allen's a bad guy, and they just never go through with it.
With the Spider Slayers and Tiberius, or with
Well, no,
the Goblin Mask,
the
or
Goblin Mask.
right,
That
right,
one's
right,
the big
right.
one to me. The Goblin Mask, and there's one other thing that happens at the very end. But the Goblin Mask is like, what is even happening? So weird. It is what it is, though.
Yeah, fair, fair. I mean, you know, I could uh, argue about it, but honestly, I mean, yeah, I mean, she's not a bad guy ultimately, and go down swinging. She's kind of
Yeah,
like more of a victim. So I can see how that could be like a dangling misdirect or something, because they he does
yeah.
play up the creepiness of Normie, and
I
I
do
guess
love
that
that
pays
though.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does pay off, kind of. And also shout
Mhm.
out to everyone who thought the Goblin Cake was normie somehow.
Oh, was that a thing? Was that a theory?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
that's fun. Um, so yeah, that's that. We go bye bye Mayo Jameson pretty much. We're setting that up. Um, a nice long run.
And amidst all this, like with the Spider Slayers out in the city and all of the Goblin Army, Goblin Nation in the city too, like we've brought up the video game a couple
Oh
times,
yeah,
but I mean, does this not just feel like final section of a game? Like everything, like this feels like such a great, like to me, Goblin Nation is just such a cool set piece, kind of like Spider Island where
yeah,
I love the imagery of like all the goblin graffiti all over the city and the spider slayers flying everywhere. And it's like, oh man, like it's just such a cool atmosphere. And I dig it. Again, I just really like the scale and the stakes. Um, it feels great to me. I don't know. I love it.
yeah, I love it too. Uh, Definitely third game potential. Uh, but yeah, and we get the probably the most iconic page of the book, which is Peter getting all his memories back. That gorgeous double page spread.
I adore that spread. I'm glad you brought it up. I was going to either way it works. I love that spread so much. I love everything he says there.
Mm,
Um, about like every triumph, every tragedy, like and the fun and And I love the image choices, and I don't know, a great
Yeah.
page. And I also like obviously like the my turn page at the end. Like that's
Oh,
good
I'll
stuff.
talk about that. But yeah,
Uh-oh.
as you were gonna bring that up, you brought up the fact that Amy's in trouble. It's a little bait and switch, and as you said, the reason it's Amy is because now we have the reverse where Otto hesitates, because he's worried about his love, but Peter doesn't care. Like Peter has to save everybody. No one dies when Peter's around, of course. Like, he would throw himself in front of a train, even if that meant that, like, hey, I might not be there to save Mary Jane or something.
And I think earlier before this, Goblin has a great line because when Otto realizes that Lamaze is has been kidnapped, right? He kind of goes like, Lamaze, like that's how you're getting to me? Like he kind of scoffs at it.
Yeah,
Where Norman goes like, the real Spider-Man could make a tragedy out of a hangnail or whatever. Um, I think I think that line is a great line from Norman about Peter that focuses again
yeah,
on how Peter cares about the small stuff, how he cares about every like little thing, right?
yeah,
And how that's been a reoccurring thing throughout this.
yeah. So let's move on to the scene where Otto gives up. Um, yeah.
For sure. Before we do that, I just want to bring
Hmm.
up uh, before he actually like takes him to the lab to do it. uh, Ghost Peter and Otto are like swinging around, and I really like what Otto says about Peter as they're swinging
Yeah,
together, where
it's
he
cute.
goes like, yeah, where he talks about himself and how he was arrogant and he overcompensated, but that Peter is guilt ridden because he knows that he's better,
Hmm.
but he won't
Yeah,
let himself be happy and whatnot. And I'm like,
yeah,
man, bars. Like I just really like
yeah,
that little speech he gives them.
yeah. No, it's really good. It's very somber. Um, but yeah, we get the scene with Otto and Peter with the mindscape. We get the part where Otto cries and then Peter wipes the tear. That's a great transition. Yeah, the whole scene's great. Love it to death.
And we finally understand at the end of this issue that the title, The Superior Spider Man, was referencing
Is
Peter the whole time.
yes, yes, I agree with you 100%. Peter is the superior Spider-Man.
I
That is
mean,
the message of the book. Hmm.
Otto said it himself. I
And
mean,
then we
I
get
think
the
that's the point.
yeah, and then we get the amazing silent pseudo page, and then the final full page of him going my turn, which is just chilling. I love it so much. Ugh,
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
it's so good.
And we've made it to the end, Tyler. Issue 31, the last issue.
Yeah,
Peter is
we
back.
I know it's so refreshing after 30 issues of Auto.
And this issue, I want to bring it up first because this issue has
Mm.
one of the most iconic Spider-Man pages of the past like 20 years.
Yeah,
And it's the man purse page, Tyler.
yeah, perfect.
When I mean, I know I'm skipping a little, but it's just how can I not mention it?
Yeah,
When Peter
it's
finally confronts the Goblin, and Goblin's giving his speech to Otto, thinking it's still Superior Spider-Man. Peter hits him with a joke, and as soon as he sees Spider-Man making a joke, those two panels of it clicking in Goblin's head, followed by him saying, "It's you, the one and only." Oh my God, man! Just peak
yeah.
Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, it's probably the best Spider-Man moment since the coming home walk. Like, it is so good.
Love that page. Anyway,
Yeah. No, it's great. It's one of the only pages where I'm like, oh, I hear that. I hear Josh Keaton in that page. Like,
yeah, especially when he says the one and only. Like I can
oh
definitely hear Keaton saying that.
I hear Keaton. I hear the like Spectacular Spider-Man music, like the sting in the music.
Oof, I'm getting goosebumps.
I know it's so good, dude. It is iconic. I love it so much. We see get Peter has to deal with a bunch of shit that Otto left him. Um, 2099's pissed at him. Collie, he has to explain to Collie. They have a nice reunion. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be
When
honest.
I was,
I have a note in here,
oh,
and I don't remember. Oh God, sorry.
oh, sorry. No, you can go. You can
Okay, well, this is quick because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just said Slot's getting a little lazy, and I don't know why.
go.
I
You
don't know
didn't
the context of that.
explain. You didn't
No,
explain yourself in your notes.
no, I'm like, why is he getting a little lazy? I think it's because like, oh, it's just because Peter's like, hey, it's me, Miguel, and he's like, oh yeah, of course. Like the fact that Peter just goes, oh, is Doc Ock in my brain? He goes, that's so stupid. It has to be right. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, that is so stupid, Slot. Whatever.
I think it's funnier in the volume 3 when he explains it to the Avengers and he's like, my pants are glued to my butt. I brought cookies and Doc Ock was in my body. Like I think that one is the funnier version of what happens with Miguel. But yeah,
Go.
I see what you mean.
I think my favorite version of like people like making fun of the fact that Otto was in his body, is probably from Nick Spencer in
Oh
issue
yeah.
one. Yeah, it was the MJ scene at the cafe, which he just kind of laughs at him.
Oh my God.
I kind of like that one. Um, see, I do like Nick Spencer, guys. Um, but yeah. So we have that. We got the Goblin Spidey moment, and then the big reveal: the Green Goblin is Mason Banks, who is really just Norman Osborn.
Yeah. Who? Mason Banks. Oh wait. Yeah, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, people were not happy.
Really? I don't
Oh, people
recall.
were fucking pissed.
Really, I don't remember any of that. I don't.
Yeah, well, that's because you live in your college brain where everyone likes Dan Slott. Um,
Oh my God.
and we are recording this at 1:40 in the morning. I'm getting loopy. Um, yeah, man, like Mason Banks. I don't know. It's kind of clever. I don't know why there's a mystery at all. I should have just been Norman the entire time. Like it is Norman, but they should have just I don't know.
Well, it does explain why he never just like showed his faith to the people of Goblin Nation
Yeah,
throughout the series. Because throughout the
maybe.
series, some of the goblins are like, "Are you really Norman Osborn? How can we know?" You know.
Right. Yeah, Coley
And
has
if he
that moment.
unmasked, yeah, and if they unmasked, they wouldn't have known because it would have been Mason Banks. Probably they'd probably let leave him actually.
Maybe.
Um, so I think,
Um,
at least it checks that out.
mhm. Peter cures Norman of the gobliness. Um, which is interesting.
Yeah, leads into worldwide again. Um, yeah, I actually took when I reread this, I took a note of like everything Peter does in this issue that I don't think Otto would have done. Like he cures instead of killing, he saves Miguel, he jokes around, he asks for help,
Yeah.
um, and then of course one of my favorite moments is uh, when Anna Maria is falling and Peter is like, I've practiced this a million times because I'm
Mhm.
determined not to make the same mistakes. And he saves Anna
Yeah.
Maria and then
And
he
that goes
saves Norman.
and that also goes back to issue two when he's like webnet, webnet.
Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, And then my last little note for all of my superior notes is the very last panel, where Peter's back, he saved the day, we had a good time, and then Anna Maria starts to cry, and Peter realizes that, like, even though, like, he's back and everything's good now, like, somebody had to die, like Otto died. And that ending, I feel like, is a nice little, like, Ditko-esque note to end on, with, like, the figure in the back behind Peter. And it's
Yeah,
like, even though it's a happy ending, it's not like a fully happy ending. It's
yeah.
like, nice. Yeah, I like that
It's a
note
very,
to end on.
yeah, very Spider-Man ending.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's all my notes, Tyler. That's all I took notes on.
Well, I got a couple more. First off, there's more Liz Allen being evil stuff that doesn't go anywhere. Um, where she helps Norman escape pretty much. Um, it actually calls back to the 2099 arc, where in the 2099 arc, Pete Otto says something like he like friends Tiberius, and Liz and Mason Banks is like, oh, Peter, and Liz is like, oh, don't worry, like he gets a pass this one time because he's an old friend, and Peter does the same thing to Liz at the end, yo.
Oh, neato.
So a nice little callback there. And then I did take notes on the epilogue. Um, I won't go into it much. It's fine. I really don't like it, to be honest. It's not Slott, it's Gage, but I just really didn't care for it. The MJ Peter stuff, I just think is like terrible. And I
Oh,
don't know
I,
why I'm
I,
coming. I don't know why I'm coming off as an MJ Peter stan in this, but I kind of am.
I mean, I would comment, but I didn't revisit the stuff after the main ending. Like, I kind of stopped
Mhm.
reading after. I didn't read the epilogue again. Um, so yeah, I got no notes.
Yeah,
I got no
it's
notes on
bad.
these parts.
It's bad. I don't
Oh,
like it. I don't like the MJ scene. Collie leaves, and it's kind of like, okay, weird. It's kind of weird that Collie is gone after all this time, but yeah. And she doesn't come
poor
back into an
Gage.
expensive. Sorry, Gage. You helped write the best
Mm.
joke. So
I do remember there being a panel where, like, MJ is kind of doing, like, the face of tiger pose.
yeah, I hate that. Ugh, so stupid. Sorry, it's so forced.
mm,
It it's kind of the same
um,
thing. This is a little tangent. It's kind of the same thing when
mhm.
they every time like something good happens to Peter and MJ, she go face it, Tygo. You just hit the jackpot again, and I'm just like every time it makes me annoyed. I just don't
Fair. A
like it.
little too much, little
It's a
too
little too
much
much,
homage sometimes. Yeah.
too on the nose.
Mhm.
I'm like MJ is much more than her first appearance. Come on now.
Yeah, it's kind of like when every Craven arc has the black suit.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Don't Zeb, you get a pass. Um,
Yeah,
I wanted to see Patrick Gleason draw that black suit, and I was not disappointed. Um,
man, Tyler, when this comes out, we will have read the end of First Hunt, man.
I know I'm gonna sob, uh, but that is for another video. So, Carlos, any final thoughts on Superior Spider-Man? We did it 1 through 30, 31. God,
Yeah, 1 through 31, not including the Age of Ultron tie-in or the Spider-Verse tie-ins, or the
or the
annuals.
annuals because they don't count.
Yep. Oh, hey, shout out
You,
Spider Talk.
yeah, you heard it here first. We made our opinions known.
Hey, that was you. That was you. Annuals, I think they count. I mean, anyway,
Oh
whatever.
no,
Anyway,
we're gonna get
um,
sued.
no, but yeah, man. I mean, you could probably tell because of how much I praised this for the past, like, 3 hours, but I'm a big fan of this series.
No,
Um,
really.
yeah, no, yeah, seriously. I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but I kind of love this run. And believe it or not, Tyler, I'd love pretty much all of the slot run. but yeah, thank you for letting me ramble about some of my favorite comics today. Made my day, TBH.
That's great. That's great. I'm sorry I kept you up to almost midnight your time at 2 a.m. my time. Um, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Sorry, this is going to be such a scuffed video because half of it turns out awful. But yeah.
What was that?
Uh,
I could.
I guess I was muttering. Um, but I'm sorry, half of this video sounds like crap because I'm tired. But Carlos sounds great,
Yeah.
as always.
Aw, thanks, buddy.
But yeah, I like Superior. I think it's really good. I think the first half is some of the best comics ever. I think some of the back half, especially Goblin Asian, gets a little weaker in my eyes, but still some bangers in there. The art goes hard, and Slot really nails the character dynamics, and that's really what we need. And I think he really elevated Otto again.
Yeah. I think, you know, I think Slot's work with Otto, um, kind of turned Otto into maybe like the best rival for Peter. Like I feel like Slot still uses Norman as like the main villain. Like he still kind of uses Norman as like the arch nemesis because, I mean, even here in Goblin Nation, even though when Peter shows up, he's like, "Oh, I've crushed you before," he's still like in that final boss position. And then once again in Go Down Swinging, like Norman is put in that position again. Um, but his work with Otto, like the parallels he draws, the development he gives him, and all the time he spends on him, I mean, yeah, I feel like it leaves me feeling like Otto is, if not his greatest enemy, then maybe his greatest rival. And yeah, I
Well
mean, to
said.
me, Superior Spider-Man is kind of like the modern um death of Gwen Stacy in the sense that it's like a canon event, right? That is very pivotal to the character's history now, and we've seen it be touched on by other writers that have come
Mhm.
after, and it's been bounced off in different ways. It's been adapted, and yeah, man, I'm just glad I got to talk to you about it. I hope you liked rereading it as much as I did, and
Sure. Yeah.
I'm really excited about Superior Returns. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I hope it continues the legacy in a good way.
I hope so too. I really think it'd be cool. But audience, you have already read it, so you can say in the comments if it's good or not. Carlos would definitely disagree if you hate it. Um, but Carlos, what can they do if they like the video?
They can share it with their friends, and you know, talk to us about Spider-Man on Twitter, I guess, question mark.
Yeah, sure. Your tag will be in there. Maybe I'll put my tag. And what I wanted you to say is that you can give a little thwip to the like and subscribe button. It would really help me out.
Oh yeah, sorry. You should definitely subscribe to Tyler's channel.
Yeah, thanks.
uh, yeah,
He's not a professional,
I'm working on it. I'm working on
no, he's working on
it.
it. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.